throughout the territory of Kenya, including our diplomatic missions abroad, as the day dedicated to renewing our shared commitment to the ideals of our Constitution by fostering national dialogue on constitutionalism, governance, and the rule of law. The County Assembly of Kericho has, by instrument of this motion, caused this House to sit here today and engage in this conversation, this dialogue on constitutionalism, governance, and the rule of law through the prism of the county government of Kericho. It is in the place of an opening statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, to lay out the broad outline of one's case. And therefore, I wish to proceed by laying out the broad outline of the case of the County Assembly of Kericho. The case of the County Assembly of Kericho is that generally, once elected representatives like the governor now before you have some prescribed tenure in office. In our case, a 5-year tenure. But the case by the County Assembly of Kericho is that there is an unwritten word in that 5-year tenure, the words being a 5-year good behavior tenure. The County Assembly of Kericho have brought before you their governor, and they are telling you he is of bad behavior. They now wish to lay out the basis for their assertion that having observed their governor for slightly over 2 years that he has been in office, his conduct reveals bad behavior. The County Assembly of Kericho takes note of the fact that this House ordinarily summons county governors and county executives and sometimes decries the rot in county governments. What the County Assembly of Kericho has done is that internally, through its standing committees and through its ad hoc committees, it has undertaken an oversight role of the county governor and his executive. So they have had a scientific method of approaching this matter. At the conclusion of their investigations through standing committees and ad hoc committees, the rot in the government of the governor now before you has come to the fore. They have therefore carried that rot to you as evidence of bad behavior and will be inviting you to consequently vote for the removal of this governor from office. How will they do that? For example, when the time will come, they will take you through payment vouchers for multiple transactions. Multiple transactions. And when you study those vouchers and their supporting documents, part of the data that you'll come across is found in volume 4D of the County Assembly's documents. So that, distinguished senators, when you look at volume 4D of the County Assembly's documents, you will see a summary of what various payment vouchers and other transactional documents reveal regarding the county government of Kericho. I'll give you a few examples. Evidence will show that a company called Mengro Products Limited was awarded a contract to maintain a bridge at a contract sum of 3,120,790 shillings. As is common with infrastructure contracts, there is a retention amount that is retained by the contracting party, the county government, for a defect period, which is 10%. When the vouchers are laid before you, 10% of 3,120,790, you will notice, is 312,079 shillings. And that is actually the amount that was prescribed in the contract, as the documents will show you. On 8th November 2021, before the governor in question came to office, that matter was settled, and Mengro Products Limited was paid 312,079 shillings in full and final payment of the retention amount. After this governor came to office, fictitious documents were created, new payment vouchers generated, and on 16th October 2024, during the tenure of this governor in office, Mengro Products Limited was paid 312,079 shillings, the same amount that had been paid in full and final settlement on 8th November 2021. You'll be glad that you will have the inspection reports that were supposed to support this voucher for this payment. And whereas this is a contract for the construction of a bridge, the inspection report will talk about how bushes were cleared. You will see that standard observation in all inspection reports to support this double payment. Somebody had a cut and paste observation in the inspection reports to support all these fictitious payments. That company, evidence will show, was given another contract to maintain a road that is specified in the evidence before you at a contract sum of 3,722,878. The retention amount was 372,287. That money was paid fully and finally on 1st April 2021, before this governor came into office. After he came into office, courtesy of creative accounting, fresh payment vouchers were generated. Fresh supporting documents were generated, and on 16th October 2024, an amount of 372,288, the same retention amount that I mentioned earlier, was paid afresh to the same company. Evidence will show, senators, that Mengro Products Limited, the same company, got another contract for construction of Lelsotet Bridge in Londiani Ward for a contract sum of 4,968,601. The retention amount, pursuant to that industry practice of having a retention figure, was 496,860. Vouchers and other supporting documents, which were obtained from the county executive through the county assembly's investigation committees, will show on 16th November 2021, before this governor came into office, the full retention amount was paid, 496,860. After this governor came into office, on 16th October 2024, the same amount, 496,860, was paid to Mengro Products Limited. In the course of this drafting, I sought to know whether somebody knows who is Mengro, because behind these companies are people. Unfortunately, I was working with people who don't work in the executive, so they could not put a face to who Mengro was. I hope at an appropriate time, this Senate will ask that question directly to those concerned, who is Mengro? Cherire Holdings Limited is a company that was granted a contract to construct a road in Soliat Ward at a contract sum of 4,530,360. The retention amount was 453,036. That money was fully paid during the term of this governor on 28th June 28th June 2024. Full amount paid. On 16th October 2024, 4 months later, fresh payment vouchers were generated, fresh supporting documents generated, and the same amount was paid to that same company, Cherire Holdings Limited, on 16th October 2024. To save time, you will find that in respect of another company called Spike Investment Limited, through which, by virtue of double payment of retention amounts, the county government of Kericho and the taxpayer lost 383,065 shillings. You will find that in respect of Green 80 Limited, by virtue of double payment of retention sums, the county government of Kericho and the Kenyan taxpayer lost 416,034 shillings. You will find that in respect of Prospera Ventures Limited, where the taxpayer, through double payment of retention amounts, lost 423,000, my apologies, 756 shillings. You will find that in respect of Bitworld Holdings Limited, where through double payment of retention amounts, the taxpayer lost 565,278 shillings. You will find that in Afriscape Limited, in respect of Afriscape Limited, Rolly Ventures Limited, twice. We are saying this, distinguished senators, unlike in the past where people have come here with generalized allegations on misappropriation of funds, the County Assembly of Kericho has meticulously compiled vouchers pointing to each of these transactions. When you go to page 3 of that same volume, you will find another scheme of double payment of retention amounts. This involves companies like Prospera Ventures Limited, Breray Limited, Bitworld Holdings Limited, Green 80 Limited, twice, Cherire Holdings Limited, twice, and Spike Ventures Limited. At page 4 of that volume, the County Assembly has tabulated for you the full losses amounting to 8,432,182.60. My clients instructed me that if this was one isolated transaction, they possibly would have thought of excusing the governor. The multiplicity of these transactions show either a governor who is not in charge of this county or who is complicit in these ills, and they'll be accordingly asking you to hold that governor to account. While at it, I will beseech the technical team to give you a sneak preview of what you will see in evidence through playing video number KCA V11. KCA V11, which will demonstrate to you another element of high-handedness on the part of this governor. You may pause there. The person whose gumboots you last saw on the screen is the governor before you. That is somebody's private property. He is demolishing it to begin using it as a dumping site without any approvals of NEMA, without any regard of the title documents of that citizen. And the County Assembly is saying, we are not bringing here rumors. A court of law has sat and has established that the governor has violated that citizen's right to a clean and healthful environment, and has directed this governor to take remedial measures. You will find that judgment in volume number 4B at pages 167 to 193. That will be the judgment of the court. Quite literally, distinguished senators, this is a governor who has taken impunity in his own hands. In his own hands. Evidence will show you that this incident of impunity was undertaken on his second day in office. When that video will be played, you will hear him announcing loudly, there is a new sheriff in town. That's what you'll hear when the evidence finally plays out. We are making out a case, distinguished senators, that this is not a wild goose chase. This is a case founded on solid, tangible, visible evidence and evidence that can be felt by our senses, that is properly documented. Distinguished senators, we all remember the infamous Londiani accident where a truck lost course and subjected to abrupt death and injury multiple citizens of this country. The national government made its own contribution to the victims of that accident. The county governor, now before you, collected money, 14 million shillings, to help those victims. In his public statements, and you'll see that in a number of videos, I will not play them down in the rest of time, where he's publicly stating that all this money is money for the victims. At the end of it all, distinguished senators, only 4 million shillings, just slightly above 4 million shillings, ended up to the victims. More than 9 million shillings was eaten under the watch of this governor by his officers, led by his then county secretary. At volume 4B, pages 82 to 83, you will see the minutes that the county secretary presented to the ad hoc committee of the county assembly trying to cover up for that theft. When you look at the report, of the ad hoc committee of the Kericho County Assembly investigating this matter, you will be told 100,000 shillings was paid to the pastor who prayed at the function where we were collecting that money itself. You'll be told 300,000 shillings was given to the county commissioner to facilitate him to move around in that respect. You will see millions of shillings that will be accounted for as money for tents. And I was telling my clients, I wish we were told that these are tents that are set up in the funerals to help people mourn. No, these were funerals set up at hotel establishments for bureaucrats to meet and eat lunch, and the evidence will show you how that was. And we are saying this is evidence of bad behavior. That if there is a learning and teaching aid on bad behavior for removal of governor, this is the one. Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, I can't see the time properly. How many minutes do I still have?
You have 10 minutes.
Thank you. My apologies, Mr. Speaker. My eyes, I think I'll need to see an ophthalmologist very soon. There is another scandal, Honorable Mr. Speaker and distinguished senators. If the technical team can show us the exhibit at page 14 of volume 6A, if the technical team can show us the exhibit at page 14 of volume 6A, if they can, I'll appreciate. If they won't, then I'll just be able to ask you to look at your volumes. Page 14. If you look at that bundle, you will see some motor vehicle. I wouldn't give the design, but it looks like a Pro Box with some speakers mounted on it at the background. Volume 6A of the County Assembly's documents, soft copy of colored photographs contain a flash disk, but volume 6A, at page 14, you will see people meeting there, and I have two explanations to give, or two evidence will show you. You will see some speakers mounted on a motor vehicle there, and this was a public participation event to settle squatters, a public participation settlement of squatters. Those two speakers mounted there for a one-day event that took 5 hours, you will be told, cost the county government of Kericho 325,000 shillings. Those two speakers mounted there. They are the ordinary speakers that we use in village funerals in day-to-day practice. In fact, the question I would ask if I sat where the governor sits is, why then not just buy speakers for the county government of Kericho in multiple numbers, than hire those 2 speakers you are seeing there at 325,000 shillings. But that's not enough. The people you see sitting in that photo under the sun, you'll be told tents were paid for this event at millions of shillings. And the tents are covering those very people you are sitting in the sun. I am demonstrating, distinguished senators, that we are not using the word bad manners to exaggerate anything or as an alarmist statement. We have documented vouchers, and we have documented bank statements, and we have documented photographs to show that. When you turn to volume number 4 of the county, my apologies, there is just volume 4, just numbered volume 4, then we start 4A, 4B, so it's just 4. You know, sorry, my apologies. If we look at volume number 4, I wanted us to look at the photos. The bills of quantities at pages 129 to 136. The bills of quantities at pages 129, my apologies, 129 to 136. You will see bills of quantities for renovation of certain houses at a place called Kipkelion.
Council, as you refer to the volumes,
Yes.
Also refer to the page so that the honorable senators can follow.
I was coming to that. The bill starts at page 139, 129, my apologies, but the actual bills are at page 130. Page 130 tells you what should be done to external walling and to re-roofing. And Mr. Speaker, subject to your guidance, I would want your technical team now to put on our screen the photos of that house, those houses. They are in volume 4A from pages 102 to 107. As we look at the bills of quantities in front of you, I would beseech the technical team, Mr. Speaker, to play for us the photos that run from pages 102 to 107 in volume 4A. Mr. Speaker, may you, in the interest of time, direct the technical team to allow our technical team out there to put those photos on the screens?
Just repeat your request.
I'm requesting that there are photographs that are in volume 4A at pages 102 to 107 that can be shown on the screen.
Technical team, can you beam those photographs on the screen, please?
Volume 4A, pages 102 to 107.
Council for Governor and for the County Assembly, are they in clip form?
They're just scanned photos. They're scanned. Their photos, they just be shown. Alternatively, let me make work easier for everybody. Let me mark it for everybody. Let's look at volume 6A, the small volume 6A. The small volume 6A. The 4A had the black and white version, then I have 6A, the colored version of the same photos.
If Council for the County Assembly, if you can have one of your team members to go to the control room.
He is there. That's why I'm inquiring for what is happening there, because he's there.
Okay.
Yes, we have somebody there. 6A, pages, yes, correct, on the screen. Thank you. I want you to look at the bills of quantities, and those are the houses as finalized and paid for. Those are the houses as finalized and paid for, 2.9 million shillings. Let's continue running kindly, technical team. Yes, those are the houses. Those just pause there. There are a number of houses. They are the same design. They are the old national houses, housing council houses, the same design. But so that's it. Those houses, one of the bills of quantities paid for is re-roofing. And you'll see the description of the roof supposed to be put. These houses have been fully paid for, 2.9 million shillings. When the county assembly steps here and tells you, we have brought you a governor of bad behavior, I beseech you, distinguished senators, to give them a keen hearing and to ask, there are some wrongs you can commit to fellow citizens, and we can say man is to error, and we may excuse you. But the big question is this one of the wrongs, even if this was the only ground, that we can say man is to error and forgive him? I asked myself this question, that if I served as governor and traveled to Kipkelion West, where this project is, and learned that this is what I'm doing to my fellow citizens, would it prick my conscience that I may be bringing a curse to my own children and children's children? The decision, senators, is yours. Our duty is to lay that evidence before you. Seeing that my time is spent, this is the contour of the evidence that you are going to see in the multiple volumes presented before you. In the interest of the citizens of Kericho County, 3 more years to them is too long. If this is what they're going through, we'll be asking you to help them remove this governor from office, because only you can do that by law established. I rest the County Assembly's opening statement.
Council for the Governor, you have 30 minutes to make your opening statement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, I request that you allow me to invite the governor. He wants to say something. We commit to confine ourselves within the 30 minutes you've given us.
Very well.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable senators. First of all, I appreciate this sitting. And as the lead counsel of the Assembly has indicated, we are here to celebrate the Katiba Day, a very important promulgation by our President. As I stand before you, Mr. Speaker, I wish just to indicate some few observations. Number one is that a PO already addition has been made on the same. And as to reflect on the Constitutional Day, the bigger question that will be advancing in this discourse as we move forward as to whether there were proper impeachment or not at the County Assembly. I say this with a lot of conviction as the governor of the great county of Kericho. That's number one. The items that has been tabled before the Great Senate today, that is the report, the ad hoc report on the NAFCDB program, the ad hoc report on the FLOCA program, the ad hoc report on the fictitious payment. The role of a governor is to instill discipline where necessary. I wish to state before the honorable senators with a lot of humility that the report on the fictitious payment was handed to me by the County Assembly after my impeachment has been tabled by the County Assembly. They asked me to act on it after they have tabled my impeachment. on his recommendations that we are going to look at it, much of it, including the pictures that we have seen here of houses and many others, the good committee had indicated that let the CEOs be punished by the Public Service Board. But the impeachment has already been tabled before I even got the report. Mr. Speaker, the conversation on the flocker programs and other ad hoc reports were tabled right after my impeachment, and the reports were equally given to me after my impeachment motion. The big question I'll ask the Senate, Mr. Speaker, naturally, how then would the governor acted on the state officers when an impeachment motion has been tabled first, then now the reports are given to him? I say this to demonstrate the malice in the County Assembly of Kericho. We were here last year, Mr. Speaker, because these honorable senators, the great upper house, indicated that the numbers were not 32. The assembly, led by the speaker in his own wisdom, decided to manufacture 33, just add one number so that they can be heard in this assembly. And I say, farewell enough, we will be here to listen to these charges and be able to demonstrate any of our wrongdoing. Number 3, Mr. Speaker, sir, on the question of Londiani, which is an emotional wiping statement and wiping emotions, this was the same impeachment that was brought in this house last year. The governor has no role whatsoever in creating committees that run funerals. We will be demonstrating, Mr. Speaker, that this committee was run by the county secretary and the county commissioner, which since then, the county secretary is no longer in office. The officers that were mentioned, most of them are no longer in office. But we'll also be able to demonstrate to this Senate that already a ruling has been made by the court indicating that no funds were lost. The same item has been brought to the Senate again for debate. Fourthly, Mr. Speaker, because of time, is that what is happening in Kericho is a well-orchestrated conspiracy, political conspiracy, to remove the governor of Kericho. One is for political interest and political expedition. Because you are seated there as the speaker of this great house. At the county assembly, we also have a speaker whose interest is one, to be the governor of Kericho County. How then do you become the governor? Impeach the governor, make it easy for you, and probably along the way, impeach also the deputy governor, and sit in as both the governor and the deputy governor, and the governor and the speaker of the assembly, so that out of the 10 years he served as the CEC of Kericho in charge of finance and as CEC in charge of roads, will be able to execute what he never accomplished. We'll be able to demonstrate that as we make our discourse. What I just wanted to say from my heart, and somebody was asking me, why did you just to make this statement like last time? In the assembly, in the last impeachment, I told them, and I reminded them of the great works and the great writings of Dostoevsky in Crime and Punishment. And these are my last words. That Raskolnikov, after killing Alyona, the old-born lady, proceeded and realized that there was somebody witnessing called Lizaveta. Because of the urge to murder and kill, he went ahead to kill Lizaveta. I then implored upon the County Assembly of Kericho, let us not just create blood for blood's sake. I also said at that time with a lot of remorse and humility, that in tragedy of Macbeth, Shakespeare, when Macbeth, the great lady, told the husband that King Duncan, you can kill King Duncan and you become the king yourself. And remember that Macbeth was a cousin to King Duncan. Macbeth was reluctant to kill King Duncan. But along the way, the evil spirits possessed her. And in her words, she says, come ye gods and sex me, that I may be a man and kill King Duncan. Indeed, Macbeth went ahead to vanquish King Duncan. Not because he wanted to kill, but because of the drive for murder. Thereafter, he went ahead to vanquish every other witness that was at the court in his quest to become the king. my imploration to the County Assembly of Kericho at that time was that much as we have political aspiration, let us resist the temptation of political murder for us to get what we want. We are here in a process that was faulty, and the whole world must know that as it is, there was no impeachment of Kericho. And I know, Honorable Speaker, because the upper house will always make correct decisions at the appropriate time, I beseech of you, Mr. Speaker, and the honorable senators, that as we deal with this matter, we separate between the responsibility of the governor and the responsibility of the CEOs. Some of them that will be brought here to adduce evidences are former CECs of Kericho County. Some of them were mentioned in the Londiani scandal. Out of it, I was able to release some of them out of work. Today, I'm being in Senate, being asked that you sack some people procedurally, while some of those names that will be testifying here are the same names that were active in the so-said Londiani scandal. Some of them were presiding over Kazim Tahani. Today, they are seated here also, probably being aligned as advocates after we release them. We are in a case of history as celebrated Katiba Day, to ask ourselves that to what extent is political persuasion and political desire compared to morality, compared to the rights of an individual. And as the governor of Kericho, I'm here under your mercy, Mr. Speaker, and the senators, so that you'll also help me to get justice as an individual because of the injustices, because of the wrong allegations that have been bestowed on me, while the governor has completely nothing to do with even signing of a voucher, has nothing to do with authorizing payments. My commitment has been simple. The officers that are found culpable of wrongdoings, the law will then follow its case. Out of this, Mr. Speaker, I call then for your consideration deeply, and the Honorable Church has said it here, on the matters that will be laid on us, so that the people of Kericho County get justice, while at the same time also the governor of Kericho get justice that he so deserves. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and may God bless this great Senate, and we put all our trust and hope in this very good upper Senate that over time has proven that it does things in an appropriate way and uphold the Constitution. Thank you so much.
Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable senators, the first issue I wish to address is our insistence on the preliminary objection we raised earlier on. We take on board the directions and the guidance given by the Speaker. We will adduce evidence of the 18 MCAs who did not vote, and we maintain that indeed this motion should not be here because the total optimum number of MCAs who could have possibly voted in favor of this motion could have been 29. And we are not saying that 29 necessarily are voted. We are saying that the results that were brought here were manipulated. And so that would be the first item in terms of my opening address. The second issue I wish to contend with Mr. Speaker and honorable senators is we contest the allegation or the contention that the governor is of bad behavior. It is our argument that the governor is a victim of political machinations, especially at the instance of the Speaker of the County Assembly. Mr. Speaker, sir, it will be our case that the law provides for responsibility for every individual in all the cases that the County Assembly, through my learned friend Mr. Ngoya, has identified. Whether it is a case of signing of the contracts, whether it is a case of payment, whether it is a case of procurement, whether it is a case of fictitious payment, there are people who the law has assigned responsibility for, and none of those situations touch on the governor. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is our argument that the nearest you could come to hold the governor responsible in a fair situation is if it were to be the case that indeed the improprieties have been brought to his attention, he has been afforded an opportunity to act, and he has chosen not to act. And it is our case in this situation that the reports, the impeachment motion was hijacked by the mover of the motion even before the various ad hoc reports had properly landed at the County Assembly. It will also be noted when we eventually come to the case that each of those ad hoc reports made recommendations for actions to be taken by various aspects of the county assembly. Where it touches on the CECs, it is the governor to act. Where it touches on CEOs, it is the public service, the county service board to act. And there are instances also where recommendations have been made for even EACC to act. And so as it were, Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable senators, it is our argument that we were not afforded an opportunity to act, and responsibility of the governor could only attend his inaction if he had been afforded an opportunity to act. Now, we are prepared to accept that if it were to be the case that there is a very pervasive and rampant improprieties at the county, you could start wondering whether the governor has put in place proper mechanism. It is our argument that keeping away the emotional way the issues have been put, and we are not belittling the amount that has been lost, we are not belittling the issues that have been raised, we are only saying that it is not true that it is as rampant as it has been alleged. When you critically look at both the amounts involved and the incidences in the face of the size and the turnover of Kericho County. We are not belittling it, but we are saying that these incidences have been blown completely out of proportion, and that they do not indicate in any way either complicity or inaction on the part of the governor. We would also like to indicate, and we will adduce evidence on this point, that much as the governor was taken through the process of impeachment at the county assembly and came to learn of the reports subsequently, he has already forwarded some of those aspects of those reports to EACC, and the EACC is already taking action on some of those issues. It just goes to show how proactive and interested he is in making sure there is accountability for public resources, and the extent to which the description of him as having bad behavior is very far from the truth of the situation. Now, my learned friend has also singled out a number of issues. Let me start with the retention money, because that's the one he multiple times referred to. He says in all the instances that payment was made in previous regime and then another payment was made in this regime. It brings us back to the basis and the root cause of this case. Being this argument we made at the county assembly and we'll be making here, that these allegations are rooted in the political ambition and interest of the Speaker of the County Assembly. And the basis of that, Mr. Speaker, sir, is that these allegations of retentions have been paid in the previous regime, where at the instance of this, the Speaker, the current Speaker when he was in charge of finance, and proper investigation as to whether there was previous payment and a subsequent payment in this regime, Mr. Speaker, sir, is an issue which is a witness and has an interest in. Our position is that we deny, and we were entitled to more time to look at it and address that issue, Mr. Speaker, sir. But we are emphasizing the extent to which the Speaker in the County Assembly would go out of his way to generate and fabricate a case against the governor. On the issue of Londiani, Mr. Speaker, sir, we would like to invite the attention of these honorable senators that the allegation on Londiani we contest on two dimensions. The first one is that it was part of the allegations which you threw away in September 2024. They have been brought back. And that is contrary to the provisions of Standing Order number 70A, which prohibits reintroduction of previously highlighted allegations. That's the first issue we wish to take up on that issue of Londiani. The second issue we wish to take up on this issue of Londiani is that the allegation against the governor is that he failed to act on a report that had been given to him by the County Assembly. We would like to bring it to your attention, honorable senators, and we will point out to you that that report of the County Assembly was stayed by the court. The court said no action can be taken on that report because of the impropriety with which it was made and the malice with which it was made, and therefore it cannot be right to say that the court, having found that no action should be taken by the governor, he should now be brought here for impeachment. Then there is the issue of private property and the emotional play of the video where they said governor was in gumboots. We would like to point out again that that allegation was in the previous complaint in September 2024, which you threw away, and understanding order number 70A, it should not be brought back. But secondly, my learned friend Mr. Ongoya has said that that was invading private property. He then went on to say that it has been determined by court. Honorable Senators, we will surprise you when we get to that judgment where we will show you that there is no determination that that is private property. It is the position of Kericho County government that indeed that property is public property and remains public property. The nearest that the court determined in that case was that there was need to have proper NEMA certifications before dumping could be done there. There was no determination that it belongs to the person who had complained. The nearest that was made was that it needs to, that the property should not have been used for dumping before certification has been issued. And for those reasons, honorable senators and Mr. Speaker, sir, we pray that in the course of this trial, we will show that this impeachment motion, number one, doesn't meet the threshold for it to stand here. Number two, that the allegations have been overstated, they have been exaggerated. And number three, that quite a number of them are not true. I would, within the time that I still have, I would like my learned friend, Mr. Wanyama, to say something.
Just a minute before he sits down. I forgot to indicate, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the land in question that has been debated and so sensationally brought here, Senator Aaron Cheruiyot is not, because I don't need to discuss him here because the majority leader, he helped us the other day to get the title deed towards the portions of that land through Anandwale. And the lands and the process is ongoing to get the title deed of the entire parcel. And of course, the documents that will be tabled here will also be able to demonstrate that. Secondly, I would like to emphasize, Mr. Speaker, because I stand easy, I don't know my fate after this. And it will be prudent in future. This is just my thinking, not as a governor, but as a scholar, that if we will not be careful in this country, speakers who have ambition and have good money in their pockets will just be able to wake up one morning, create a list and send to Senate for governors to be impeached. And if we will not be careful, Mr. Speaker, the lot of humility, there will be cocktails of impeachments in Senate. Some of the senators here are also aspiring to be governors. And I know some of them at a personal level that they have high chances of being governors. If we will trend in this direction, nobody will be safe in this country. And this constitution you are talking about today will be just a piece of paper. And that is why that constitution was very clear that to impeach a governor, you must have 2/3 of the threshold required. And that 2/3 is what will later on provide the latitude now to discuss the substance, because the substance are tied with the numbers. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I beseech my good colleague in another circle when I was teaching in the university, and I'm still at Don, Mr. Ongoya. He has kept referring to me as tit and that. In another circle, in a light touch, probably I would have been his senior, because the last time I left there, I would have been his senior, and in a light touch, I would beseech of him that he doesn't refer to me again as that or this, but rather with some decorum. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to ask a question, and this question responds to a video which was played by Mr. Ongoya, and where the governor was undertaking what we call self-help measures. When you go home and you find a stranger in your kitchen, what will be your first instinct as a human being? In common law, there's a doctrine known as self-help. In Kenya, there is a major problem on land grabbing. The land in question where the governor undertook self-help measures, which is allowed in law, and the matter is under litigation, is public land. A private developer, an individual who has an interest in this land, then takes up the matter in court, and then we are saying that is a ground for impeachment, impeaching the governor. So that just demonstrates to you the nature of the county assembly case. The county assembly case, if you examine it, does not meet the threshold in Article 1 of the Constitution. The gross violation of the Constitution and law, and gladly this Senate has already interpreted this question in very many decisions. There ought to be, for you to determine that there is culpability by the governor, you must look at the evidence. There must be something which the governor did personally for purposes of being removed from office. What is it that the governor did in respect to the procurement? Look at the evidence of the county assembly. They will not be saying the governor did this. Instead, they will be saying that a procurement officer did not write a professional opinion. And then that contract was approved by the accounting officer. So in that case, what is the responsibility? Who has the responsibility if there is a malpractice on a procurement failure to write a professional opinion? It is the procurement officer. It is the accounting officer who then signs off. So if the governor interferes with the process, then that is something else. So throughout the evidence submitted by the county assembly, you will not see personal culpability by the governor to of necessity lay basis for the threshold for the removal of governor from office. Kericho County has more than 3,500 staff. 3,500 staff. Secondly, Kericho County has more than 10 departments. All these staff work in various departments. And at the top of each department is a CEC and an accounting officer known as the chief officer. And there is an accountant. So you cannot foreclose the possibility that in the workings of government, there could be an issue within that value chain for the provision of government services to the people. And when that happens, there are procedures to be followed, because we are a country governed by the rule of law. There are procedures to be followed. These procedures are outlined in legislation. One, with respect to procurement, you have the Public Procurement and Disposals Act and the regulations. It outlines the entire chain of procurement. With respect to Public Finance Management Act, it governs the payment system. If you look at the PFM specifically, the responsibility of the CEC Finance and the Chief Officer Finance, they are clearly outlined so that when there is a problem, then responsibility is ascribed to an individual. If you look at the legal framework on corruption itself, responsibility is on an individual basis committing a crime. Secondly, there is a process for audit, which this House too has a role to play, and the County Assembly. You will find that most of the allegations which they have submitted against the government have not been audited. They have not been subjected to a process of audit for purposes of verification, either by the County Assembly, in examining the report of the Auditor General, or by this House. So do we take that precipitate decision to impeach the governor when all these things are prematurely, appear to be premature? Definitely not. Look at the responsibility of the County Assembly itself within this process. The County Assembly, under Article 185 of the Constitution, has a heavy responsibility on audit and oversight. Sorry, let me use the word oversight. They oversight the county executive. So what steps has the County Assembly done to summon the procurement officer, the accounting officers within the county government on the various departments, for them to answer and get satisfied on the primary questions before we take the next level issues to impeach the governor. So that is very important. You will be seeing this throughout the issue of nexus. It is not there throughout the evidence by the county assembly. On the issue of voting, the threshold question, we will be laying basis in cross-examination and also part of our evidence. We will be cross-examining the ICT officer who says he developed this system internally. And this system was deployed for the first time in this impeachment, as I said, on a serious matter concerning the removal of governor from office, being deployed for the first time. And then we will be demonstrating to you the vulnerabilities of this system. That to access the system to vote, all you need to do is to get the IPPD system, the IPPD number of the MCA, and the password is your ID. Then you access this system, which is tied to the website. So anyone with that can access. And we will be laying evidence in terms of video, showing that the leader of majority has confessed on record, on video, showing that he voted on behalf of an MCA, who will be standing before this forum, before this house, to tell you that he never voted. Instead, the leader of majority promised some financial inducement to that MCA. The move of the motion. Financial inducement to that MCA to vote. That is evidence on the question of numbers. We will be laying evidence here that despite the logs which are before the House, there are 4 MCAs who never voted. Mr. Speaker, sir, these 4 MCAs never voted. They will be standing here to speak. And then the county assembly report says they voted. Mr. Speaker, sir, there are 18 other MCAs. 18 other MCAs who will be appearing before this house. So, Your Honor, Mr. Speaker, sir, sorry, when in totality of the totality of facts, and after we've completed the evidence, you will definitely see that the threshold of 32 members as required was not met by the county assembly, and what is before the House is a fraudulent document that was created by the Speaker to meet that number which the Speaker does not have. Thank you.
We shall now move to hear the case by the County Assembly. Now, Counsel for the County Assembly, you have 5 hours. Within those 5 hours, 3 hours shall be used for witnesses to give evidence in chief and be re-examined. So out of those 5 hours, the County Assembly has 3 hours to adduce evidence and for re-examination. Out of those 5 hours, the team for the governor has 2 hours for cross-examination. Once the 5 hours are done, we will move to the case by the governor. Now it's now 4 p.m. The House will adjourn at 6:30. So you'll have 2 hours, 2.5 hours for today. And tomorrow morning, when you resume at 9, you will have the remainder to be utilized tomorrow morning. So the team from the County Assembly, may the lead counsel take to the floor so that you start by calling your first witness.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for the opportunity. For record purposes, my name is Elias Mutuma. I'll be leading our first witness. His name is Geoffrey Bett. You will recall, Mr. Speaker, sir, that we had made a request to accommodate this witness, considering that he's physically challenged. I hope that the arrangements have been made.
Proceed.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In terms of our documents, we shall be making a lot of references to Volume 2 of the County Assembly's documents. Is a